8 more days. You heard it right. The NBA trade deadline is happening in 8 days. By then, we will see many players find new homes in the league, and a lot of drama such as the Ben Simmons situation will have some further progressions. For the Golden State Warriors, we all know where the holes are. The team is reported to have a quiet trade deadline due to Kevon Looney's decent performance. The more I read into this report, the more concerns I have. Looney does provide some nice attributes on defense, but on offense, I don't see a lot of reason to keep him around. Kevon Looney in reality is shorter than a traditional big man in the league, but then he doesn't have any threat behind the arc like a modern big man, so that somewhat put him at a weird position. If you look at some of the top teams in both the West and the East, you see the problems even more. In the West, for example, you got DeAndre Ayton with the Phoenix Suns, Jonas Valanciunas with the Memphis Grizzlies, Rudy Gobert with Utah Jazz, Nikola Jokic with the Denver Nuggets, Kristaps Porzingis with the Dallas Mavericks, Karl Anthony Towns with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and so on. If you ask me, the only untradeable assets the Warriors have right now are Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. Other than these, I'm willing to trade away any players or picks if the return is what I'm looking for. While many teams will try to make improvements before the trade deadline, there are certainly a few players that can bring the Warriors to a different level without costing major assets. In today's video, we'll be going over 5 practical trade targets the Warriors should pursue before the trade deadline. In addition, I'll also bring up a trade package along with each player. So with that being said, let's roll the intro.
Hi. I'm on my match in the dark. 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 I'm on my match in the
Yo, what's up guys, Jason here back with another video. If it's your first time watching, I make Golden State Warriors content and break down their news and rumors from all angles. So if you want full-time Warriors coverage, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notification bell, and you will always be notified first when I upload a new video. Before we get into the content, I just want to quickly point out that all these players I'm about to go through are either a center or a taller power forward because it simply makes no sense to acquire another guard or a small forward. Starting with the first player on this list, Jakob Poeltl from the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs received Kevon Looney and 2 second-round picks, and the Warriors received Jakob Poeltl. I know some might say that this is way too much for Poeltl, but here's the reason why. Quietly, Poeltl is having a career year this season, averaging 13.2 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. At the head of 7'1", Poeltl has the size and length the Warriors are looking for. On defense, Poeltl provides a different level of rim protection. Although Looney is shorter than Poeltl and theoretically Looney should be more athletic, but Poeltl honestly looks faster and more agile than Looney. The Warriors threw a lot of switches on defense, and I think Poeltl is the better player at doing that. At the same time, he will definitely be a better option on offense compared to Looney. This season, Poeltl has a field goal percentage of 61.4, and he is also an amazing pick and roll big man. On the other hand, the Spurs will also have some interest in pulling this trade. They'll be getting a center with championship experience in Looney, while loading up their draft capitals, as their primary goal right now is to keep rebuilding for the future. Moving on to number 2, we have Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets. The Warriors received Christian Wood and a second-round pick, and the Rockets received James Wiseman and Kevon Looney. I think this trade makes perfect sense for both parties. Based on the way Wood is performing, I doubt the Rockets will be able to keep him for cheap after his contract expires. However, getting a high-profile player in James Wiseman on his rookie contract makes more sense for this rebuilding franchise. Breaking it down a little bit more, I think Christian Wood is one of the players that can perfectly fit into this Warriors system. This season, Wood is averaging 17.5 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists, while shooting 36.8% behind the arc. Although Christian Wood is officially listed as a power forward, he's actually taller than Kevon Looney. Currently, Looney has no threat behind the arc, and he doesn't have that much consistency shooting mid-range jumpers. As a team who shoot a lot of 3-pointers, the Warriors need a big man that can stretch the floor. Now, you might say that James Wiseman can do that in the future, but I really don't think that the Warriors have the time to wait for Wiseman to develop. When the Warriors win the title and fans celebrate on the championship parade, I don't think anybody will go back and say that trading away James Wiseman is a bad decision. Alright, now number 3 we have Milo Turner from the Indiana Pacers. The Warriors will receive Milo Turner in a first round pick, and the Pacers will receive Kevon Looney, James Wiseman, and a second round pick. It is reported that the Pacers are open to trading Milo Turner, Domantas Sabonis, and Caris LeVert. Due to a foot injury, I think it makes the Pacers even more desperate to move on from Turner. What makes Milo Turner a prototypical big man for the Warriors is that he has all the attributes to fit into the Warriors system on both sides of the court. At the height of 6'11", Turner is one of the best defenders, especially blockers in the NBA. This season again, Turner is averaging 2.8 blocks per game and has a defensive rating of 102.6. Things don't just end there. Turner is also a weapon on offense. While averaging 12.9 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 1 assist per game, Turner is knocking down 33% of his shot behind the arc. Now, these numbers are actually a little bit lower compared to last season because of Milo Turner's injury, but then once he fully recovers, I think he will return to his old self. And here's one more thing, because of Turner's threat behind the arc, the Warriors will be able to stretch the floor a lot more. I think we all know what a Warrior system can do to any player. It will automatically increase their 3-point shooting percentage, as this offense scheme at Golden State can easily create open shots, and Andrew Wiggins is one of the best examples. Well, some may say that this trade actually weakens our depth at the center position, but I think that is not the case in reality. This current Warriors team is playing without James Wiseman, so from a rotational perspective, we're simply swapping Kevon Looney for James Wiseman, and don't forget we still have Nemanja Bjelica, who is a decent backup. Moving on to number 4 on this list, Reshawn Holmes from the Sacramento Kings. The Warriors receive Holmes in a first round pick, and the Kings receive James Wiseman. What really draws me into Holmes is how physical he is in the paint, especially when it comes to rebounding. This season, Holmes is averaging 12.1 points, 8.1 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 1 block. Again, I used to struggle to finalize my opinion on what the team should do with James Wiseman, but now I'm beginning to lean more and more towards trading him. Now, based on how the Kings are playing, this first round pick will very likely become a lottery pick, as the Kings now are the 13th seed in the Western Conference, and I don't see them making the playoffs this year. For the Warriors, they'll be getting an immediate presence and a valuable first round pick, and I think those are great for the present and for the future. For the Kings, they'll be getting a 20-year-old talented center to pair up with a superstar De'Aaron Fox. I think it's obvious right now that the Kings are moving on from Marvin Bagley so that James Wiseman will become the starting center for many years to come. Alright, last but not least, number 5 on this list is a little bit crazy, and we're talking about John Collins. Now, the Warriors receive John Collins in a first round pick, and the Hawks receive James Wiseman, Kevon Looney, and Jonathan Kuminga. Despite having a luxurious roster, the Hawks are not having a good season, as they are currently the 10th seed in the East. What this trade does here is it makes the Warriors go all in for the present. This trade will sacrifice 2 future pieces in James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga, but in return, the Warriors will likely have the best starting 5 in the league: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and John Collins. Now, we all heard about the somewhat broken relationship between Collins and the Hawks last offseason, but this type of issue is never a problem in Golden State. I think we all know what Collins brings to the team. Obviously, he is an athletic freak, but at the same time, he is also a great shooter, as he's knocking down nearly 40% of his shot behind the arc this season. However, there is also a clear drawback. Collins signed a 5-year, $125 million contract with the Hawks. Looking at the Warriors starting 5, if this trade takes place, their cap room situation will not be looking too good. However, as long as the team can win a few titles, everything is worth it. Alright guys, so this wraps up the video. Comment down below which player do you want the Warriors to trade before the trade deadline. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on social media with all the link in the description down below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next episode.